You know, in healthcare, there's a massive gap between just following the rules and genuinely striving for excellence. Today, we're going to dive into a really critical shift happening in Telangana's hospitals, the move away from just a simple compliance checklist towards building a powerful, deep-seated culture of quality.
So what are we really talking about here? Well, it boils down to two completely different mindsets. On one side, you've got compliance. This is all about ticking boxes, meeting the bare minimum, and usually only reacting after something's gone wrong. But on the other side, you have a quality culture. This is proactive. It's about living a set of values where teams are constantly looking for ways to do better, to aim for excellence. It's the difference between asking, did we follow the rules, and asking, what is the absolute best outcome we can get for this patient? All right, so let's get into why this matters so much. In our first section, we're going to unpack this paradox, why huge investments don't always guarantee consistently great care.
And when we say the investment is massive, we mean massive. Ever since it was formed back in 2014, Telangana has been funneling serious money into healthcare. The budget has shot up to over 12,000 crore rupees. That money has gone into new medical colleges, hospital upgrades, you name it. The financial commitment is definitely there. Which brings us to the big question, right? With all this shiny new infrastructure and all this funding, why is care still so inconsistent sometimes? It's the paradox of investment. Pouring money into the hardware, the buildings, the beds, the machines, doesn't automatically upgrade the software. And by software, I mean the human systems, the team culture, the day-to-day ways of working. That's why just spending money isn't a guarantee of great care.
So, if new buildings and bigger budgets aren't the whole story, then what is? Well, that leads us straight into Section 2, where we're going to define the solution, creating a proactive culture of quality.
Think of it like this. A hospital quality culture isn't some policy manual collecting dust on a shelf. It's the very DNA of the hospital. It's the shared belief system that guides every single person, from the surgeon to the cleaner, in every decision they make. It's about wanting to get better not just for an inspection, but for every single patient every single day.
And the engine that drives this culture is something called continuous quality improvement, or CQI. It's a really simple but super powerful cycle. First, you identify something that could be better. Then, you intervene, you make a change. Next, you monitor the results to see what happened. And finally, you refine your approach based on what you learned. It's this constant, proactive loop of getting better and better.
And this isn't just some feel-good theory. The benefits are totally real and measurable. Hospitals with a strong quality culture see better clinical outcomes and way fewer errors. But it goes beyond that. It boosts staff morale, and it builds something absolutely priceless: the trust of your patients and the community. The proof is right there. This approach works.
Okay, so we're sold. We know it works. But how do you actually build it? That's what Section 3 is all about. We're going to break down the 6 essential ingredients you need to make this cultural shift happen.
Building this culture really depends on these 6 pillars you see here. It's not just one thing. You need everything from unwavering commitment from the top and ongoing staff training to using data that actually focuses on the patient and creating a culture where it's okay to talk about mistakes so you can learn from them. Every single one is a crucial piece of the puzzle.
Now, this next point is absolutely crucial. This is not about adding more tasks to a nurse's or doctor's already packed day. It's about weaving these principles of quality into the fabric of their daily work. It's about changing how the work gets done, not just adding more of it. Of course, let's be realistic. A change this fundamental is never a walk in the park. So in our 4th section, we're going to look at the very real hurdles that hospitals face, but more importantly, the pathways they can take to get over them. And these challenges will probably sound familiar to a lot of you. High staff turnover and burnout can derail any new initiative. Resources are almost always tight. You have departments that work in their own little bubbles, not talking to each other. And then there's measurement fatigue, where people get so tired of tracking metrics that they lose sight of why they're doing it in the first place. But, and this is a big but, for every single one of those challenges, there's an opportunity waiting. We can create training programs that can scale. We can build quality checks right into daily team huddles. We can use tech to get real-time feedback. And imagine the power of creating networks where hospitals learn from each other, or directly involving patients in making care better. These are powerful ways forward.
This all brings us to our final section, the path to excellence. Here, we're going to look at the hard evidence that proves this culture shift has a massive impact, and we'll wrap up with a final call to action. So, after all this talk about culture and strategy, the big question is still hanging there. Does it really make a difference for patients? Well, the research from Telangana gives us a pretty loud and clear answer, a resounding yes. Check this out. A really fascinating study by Osmania University dug into this exact question. They used a tool called ServQual to survey 600 patients about their experience. They measured 5 key things, but look at what stands out. The impact of the human elements, assurance, which is all about trust, and empathy, their impact was rated very high. That's what mattered most to people.
And when you look at the final results, the picture couldn't be clearer. The study found a direct, powerful link. When patients felt the hospital was reliable, responsive, and empathetic, all the signs of a great quality culture, their satisfaction and trust went through the roof. This isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely essential.
Ultimately, making this move from compliance to culture is exactly what this quote says. It is a fundamental shift. It's not a new program you roll out for a few months. It's a complete reimagining of how a hospital operates, with quality and the patient at the very heart of every single thing it does. So we'll end with a question for everyone watching. Is your organization, your hospital, your team ready to move beyond just the checklist? Are you ready to make quality not just another goal, but a core part of every single decision, every single day? Because that right there is where true excellence in healthcare is born.